I'm Pavani, coming at you from PC Student News. Today's episode will be focused on a case from California. Here are the facts. Alan Bakke, a 35-year-old white male, has applied to the University of California's medical school at Davis, and he was rejected both times. It was claimed that 16 spots were reserved out of 100 for qualified minorities, and Bakke was rejected both times. Bakke's qualifications, his GPA, and test scores exceeded those of other minor applicants for both years. He confronted first to California's courts and then the Supreme Court, which excluded from admission study on race based on the 14th Amendment. Thank you, Mr. Bakke, for taking your time today. How do you feel about the situation?
I feel like credit should be given where credit is due, and I'm more than qualified to get into this college, which I cannot say for all of the applicants of those 16 spots.
Do you feel that educational diversity should be a contributing factor to college admission?
Yes, of course, but your credentials and your qualifications should be first and foremost.
Now the moment you've all been waiting to hear about, the decision. Did the University of California violate the 14th Amendment's Equal Protection Clause and the Civil Rights Act of 1964 by practicing an affirmative action policy that resulted in the repeated rejection of Bakke's application to its medical school? Here's how they voted. Although there was no single majority opinion regarding Bakke's case, here are the stated separates and opinions. Justice Powell's opinion stated the Supreme Court should allow Bakke to be admitted to the Davis Medical School as the California Supreme Court held. However, the joint opinion of Justices Brennan, White, Marshall, Blackmun, as well as Powell hold that race may be considered based on Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. However, it may not be solely considered. This both affirms and reverses the ruling of the California Supreme Court. Justice White, a separate, states that he does not believe that Bakke can bring a suit under claims of the violation of Title VI. White believes the role of Title VI was to get rid of funding for institutions that discriminated on the basis of race. Because Bakke hasn't been denied his right to participate in the benefit of federal funds because of race, he isn't entitled to sue under Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Justice Marshall, a separate, agrees with the court that a university can consider the race of an applicant in making admission decisions. However, doesn't agree that Davis's admissions program violates the Constitution. Affirmative action programs began in response to a movement toward equality after the Brown v. Board of Education court case and are meant for aiding disenfranchised African Americans and therefore should be allowed to continue. The purpose of the 14th Amendment was to give equal rights to minorities, which affirmative action follows. Justice Blackmun, a separate, agrees with Justices Brennan, White, and Marshall. He hopes that a time will come that affirmative action will not be needed, but at this time the number of qualified applicants exceeds available spots in medical schools. Therefore, qualified applicants such as Bakke are rejected every year. Blackmun holds that it would be impossible to make affirmative action programs racially neutral and the flexibility of the Constitution to accommodate minorities. Of the 4 decisions of the court case, 3 were a 5-4 decision and 1 was an 8-1 decision. Here are the facts. In the 8-1 decision for Bakke, justices agreed that Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 provided Bakke a cause of action. The only judge not to agree was Justice White. In one of the 3 5-4 decisions regarding the regents of the University of California, the majority opinion was that Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 does not prohibit the university's race-based admissions program. In another 5-4 decision, court agreed that the Equal Protection Clause permits race to be one factor among others in an admissions program. In the last 5-4 decision regarding Bakke, court ruled that the Equal Protection Clause prohibits the university's specific race-based admissions program and Bakke shall be admitted. In the Grutter v. Bollinger case in 2003, the Supreme Court reaffirmed Bakke's position, again maintaining that the admissions process may consider race as a factor to promote diversity, but may not use it in place of a review of the applicant's overall qualifications. Such affirmative action is unconstitutional if it automatically increases the applicant's chances based solely on race.
So some of the problems we had was just coming up or thinking about props to have in advance and having more people in the group.
Yeah, because we had to keep switching off, like, taking the videos. So it's like she takes a video of me and I take a video of her.
So you can never be on the screen at once.
And like understanding the decision, because our case had so many different like aspects to it, where there was like the affirmative action, but also like considering the 14th Amendment equal rights and how like minorities may not get as many spots, but also like you have to remember that like everyone is still equal, so you can't really save those spots. Our solutions for the props was that Barnes & Noble has really great puppets, so that was fine. Yeah.
We took turns filming, so we both had an equal amount of work to do, and they also have really nice coffee.
Yeah. Suggestions for the future are to memorize our lines, because this case has so many facets that like figuring out what we were going to say was difficult, so then memorizing it was difficult. But overall, it was a pretty good project. We had enough time to do it. Yeah. Peace out, Mr. Oakley.